All right, so continuing on in 5.4, this is number 7. So we are given that side AB is congruent to side DE. And I'm also given that angle B is congruent to angle E. Okay, and so now I'm asked to prove that side AC is congruent to side DC. Okay, so in our first statement, again, we're given the statements. We're asked to list the reasons that these statements make sense. Okay, so for our first statement, AB congruent to DE, angle B congruent to angle E, that is just going to be our given statement. It's given to us right up there. Our next statement states angle ACB, okay, so that'll be this angle right here, is congruent to angle DCE. Okay, so if we look at these two angles, ACB and DCE, we remember back to Unit 1 and to Unit 4, and we also remember calling it in this unit as well. ACB and DCE are vertical angles. Okay, vertical angles, they are two angles that are non-adjacent to each other. It means they're not directly next to each other. They don't share a side, and they're created by intersecting lines. And the other important thing to know is that vertical angles are congruent to each other. So now that we know that these two angles are congruent to each other. So now, based off this, we have that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEC. Remember, we still haven't proven anything about AC and DC yet. So right now, if I'm saying that these two triangles are congruent, I got to go off what I know right now. So I have an angle, and a side, angle, and a side. So these two triangles, ABC and DEC, will be congruent by angle, side triangle congruence. All right, so now that we have proven that these two triangles are congruent by angle, side congruence, we can now confidently state that AC is congruent to DC. So AC, this side length, DC, this side length, we can confidently say that they're congruent because of this CPCTC, which, if you remember, it stands for corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So since we already proved that these two triangles are congruent back at statement 3, we can now say that all the corresponding parts are going to be congruent. So we see up here, AC and DC are going to be corresponding parts. That is, if we were to lay these two triangles on top of each other, AC and DC would lie right on top of each other. So because of that, these corresponding parts of congruent triangles are going to be congruent to each other. Therefore, AC will be congruent to DC.